Hi and welcome. Take two. I've done this video once and I didn't turn on one of my lights, so it was too dark. It's been a very cold, gray, rainy, nasty time for this last week or so. I've actually spent Friday, I thought we had a tornado, whistling wind and all. We lost power for all night, and trees were uprooted. It was really not pleasant, and of course it was a difficult time to figure out that my generator didn't work. So, yeah, that's usually what happens, I guess. You don't need it until it doesn't work, and then you always need it. Because last night a transformer blew outside and I lost power again. But right now, it's all good. It's cold, it's wet, it's overcast. I have my space heater running and my furnace. And, yeah, not fun. Now I just have to go back and try to remember everything I've already said. I already did the first couple of days of Mania, were part of my last video. And I had started with May 1st, Priscilla Frances Whitehinky, who's out of an old book, Alma Lynn's Country Cross Stitch. And I love her. I think she's an adorable piece. And if I was in a better frame of mind or didn't have as much to stitch as I do, she wouldn't be a UFO. But maybe sometime on 14 count White Ada, I'll do her. But the hand-drawn charts and things I just have too many things I want to stitch. And so pieces that I have to struggle with, I'm just not interested in right now. So she became a UFO rather quickly. So she's all unpicked. Oh well. And then I've had a very good month so far. This is only May 9th, and I've actually worked on quite a bit. So the second, I should probably recap and say that Stitch Mania, this is my first one. It's been around since about 2015, and I've been watching Floss Tube videos probably for almost a year, maybe not quite. So this is the first Stitch Mania that I've been involved with. And I had decided that I would do a new start every other day. And so far it's been a lot of fun. I am throwing other things in at the same time, simply because why not? But for my second day was May 3rd, and I was just going to start this for when I did my last video. And it's a Plum Street sampler piece, and it's jeans and weenies. And I'm doing it in honor of my father. It was his birthday on May 3rd, and he loves dogs, and my dog, Wally, is half dachshund. So, and he looks like a dachshund. He's a little bit bigger than a dachshund, but and he has a squarer muzzle. But for all intents and purposes, he's a wiener dog. Hence, jeans and weenies. And that's how much I got done on this piece. And I will tell you that it's a fabulous piece to work on. I'm really enjoying it. I love the colors. The pattern, the chart is very easy to stitch from. And yeah, which is good because I have the Halloweenies piece and I have Spring Rolls, which are two other pieces by Plum Street Sampler that feature dachshunds. So I'm looking forward to doing those. Let's see, on May the 4th, of course, was May the 4th be with you, and I didn't have a piece to work on at that point as far as Star Wars went, but we are pretty big Star Wars geeks here, so I went online to see if I could find a piece, and I did, and I've worked on it a couple times, and it's BB-8, and it's a E pattern, so I don't really have a picture of him, but anyone who knows Star Wars things knows about BB-8, He's a little robot dude, kind of along the size of R2-D2, and he's really cute. He's in the newer movie sections. And the fabric that I'm doing him on is, I think this is 14 count Aida. I think it was blue to start with, and then I dyed it some to make it a little bit spacey. And I really like this. I'm trying to remember, let's see, did I write down? Yes, from Stitch Line. At the time she was having a buy one get one free, so I had also bought a Disney Stitch one that was mostly words. It was all words. I don't have a picture of that one either, or I would share it with you, but that was Stitch Line. And this is a great pattern. It's very easy to stitch. I did blow it up for my working copy, but one thing I didn't realize, and you can kind of see from my notes here, is there are blended threads. So at some point I have to blend threads. And but there's not a lot of colors, as you can see. Just half of them are blended. And if you look at this piece, what I've done so far, you may not be able to tell. I'm not sure if it picks it up. But there's actually two different colors of orange in those two big orange sections. One is a little bit yellower than the other. But yeah, I'm enjoying that. That's fun. I love BB-8, and I think I'm going to give him to my son-in-law, Scott. He's a Cleveland Indians fan, so he likes orange. He's a Star Wars fan. He likes science fiction type things. And I think instead of starting a piece for him on the 13th, which is his birthday, I will continue working on BB-8 because I'm really enjoying that stitch. So that was May the 4th be with you. And then on the 5th, it was full coverage on the 5th, which is the Stitch Mania. And Sal, excuse me, I don't know. And I did work on it, I'm sorry. But this is what I'm working on for full coverage on the 5th. That is the Witching Hour. And I'm really enjoying working on it. And it's on my frame. And I have it hooked in there really well. And I don't want to take it out of there. I did fix a mistake I had made. In my last video, I show it. And I did move a square to the correct square. And I've moved on. And I've stitched more of the black. But I'll show it again. But I'm not going to show it in this video. But that was what I worked on the 5th. And then on the 6th, which was Saturday, we went, my family and I went, and we saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And if you like Guardians of the Galaxy or Marvel comics, you will love that movie. It was hilarious. We laughed, we cried. It was actually really good. And so I got the urge, because in the opening credits, it has the Marvel logo. And it looks like my cross-stitch piece that I'm working on, which is this. And this is for my daughter's boyfriend, who really likes Marvel comics. And he went with us to see Guardians of the Galaxy. And it was a lot of fun. And I've worked on this, I don't know, 3 or 4 nights now. I'm really loving it. And it's a fairly good sized piece, but that's what it looks like so far. You can see with the border. And then I've actually started filling in that lower corner by the M. So all of the characters are set in the word Marvel. and the colors are really nice, and the pattern is good so far. The faces, I'm not sure of the faces. This is probably just a picture that was run through the pattern generator. So the faces are very pixelated in the pictures. It's pretty apparent with Thor's face. It's really kind of freaky looking. So I may have to do some extra finagling when I get to those parts, but that's okay. I'm really enjoying working on that though. So that's coming along really well. And then, let's see, on the 7th, that was another new start for Stitch Mania. And that was the day that I unpicked Priscilla Francis White Hanky. And I started this Patriotic Angel. Oh, get glare. The Patriotic Angel here. I started that on the fabric that I had set for Priscilla. And it's another hand-drawn chart, and it has some of the same limitations as Priscilla, but it's not as big, and it's coming along pretty well. And I think it's going to make a nice, a nice ornament. And I like the colors. So, and that's, I made myself some wooden stitch minders, so that heart is a stitch minder. I'm thinking about trying to color them with some alcohol ink and see how that works. I would probably have to seal it, but alcohol ink, once it dries, doesn't really move, so. And I think it'll absorb into the wood really well. So that was my start on the 7th for Stitch Mania. So, and I continued working on my Marvel piece. So yesterday I worked on BB-8 and Marvel again because I'm liking both of them. And then the power went out, so I stopped working on anything. And then today was another new start, and that was out of the Quick and Easy. Yes, that's out of my Quick and Easy cross stitch collection, and that was the placemat that I showed in my lineup, which is this. See if I can see what you see. And you can see the trees right here. This one with the moon and the hill. This was my start for today. And that's done on like a cloud blue Ada placemat. And I did not do that. What I used was a scrap of Ada. It's gray, kind of a lavender gray, that I got from 123 Stitch in a grab bag. And I used some of the new DMC variegated flosses. And in the chart, they're all done with white DMC. But I really like the way that's turning out. And then there's the moon that I used Petite Treasure Braid for. And I have to tell you, I don't like Petite Treasure Braid. It's like a combination light effects and blending filament. Krennic for me actually is easier to use. But I persevered. Can't remember what number I used. I did write it down somewhere. But anyway, I used it for the moon. I don't know if you can see any of the sparkle there. There's a bit of a crease. But I like it. But what I'm thinking about doing is putting some beads in the trees, because there are some empty spaces, and then there's some empty spaces in the snow on the hill. And I left some brown, I put some brown down in here because it's a path. And then what I'm going to do on the 21st, I have a start that's the Santa's sleigh, and I'm going to actually fit that in here and make it part of this piece, and then turn it into a little ornament. But this was actually started this morning and finished this morning. So kind of got carried away. It took me about 3 hours, I think, altogether. But that was fun, and I actually got a finish out of it. So, and I haven't had a finish in a while because I've been working on all big things. So that made me kind of happy. And that brings me up to date. And so I have other starts. My next start will be on the 11th. But before then, our next mailing date for the round robin that I'm in on Cross Stitch Finish Line is tomorrow. So I will be shipping out my La-Di-Da 5 Fine Roosters that belong to Lisa, and I will be sending that on to Erin, and I will be getting another piece from Tammy to stitch for the rest of this month. So kind of excited to see what that will be. But that's coming up. I haven't been keeping up on my Birthstone Dragon sale or my Under the Sea sale. I did print this next Under the Sea sale piece for May, so I do have it printed out, but I haven't even done the submarines from last month. But that's what May's Under the Sea sale piece is. It's these two really cute seahorses. So I'm looking forward to doing those because I love seahorses. But not keeping up. And let's see, I do have some haul. I had bought, I showed my Dragons of Sumatra and the fabric that I'm going to do them on. And I've gone off book and gone against the way everybody does it. I'm going to do it in this Ruby Wine Ada. It's 18 count. So what I did was I got another piece of this because I also have the big red ship, and I'm going to do the big red ship on red fabric. And that means I have to come up with color to do the big red ship in. And I went on 1, 2, 3 stitch because I was out of 3750, which is this pretty blue color. Of course, now I can't even remember what I needed it for, but I know I was down to the very bare part of a bobbin, so I bought 2 more skeins. So then I started looking at Valdani silk, and I got 3 of these to try, and this one is called Black Sea. Let me see, turn my invoice. So this is Valdani, and that's Black Sea, and it is kind of variegated. It's a browny, brown black color. And then I got Copper Leaf. It says it's color fast, and it's Valdani, and this is Copper Leaf, and it's beautiful browns and greens. And then I also got, and this is hand-dyed color fast embroidery cotton, and this is also Valdani, but this is cotton, and it's called Withered Green, and it's another variegated floss, and it's beautiful, and it feels very soft. So I'm looking forward to working with those and seeing how they go. And so my big red ship may actually wind up being done in Black Sea on Ruby Wine. And then while I was there, I was watching Mortuary Stitches, and she was showing her Prairie Schooler Halloween patterns. And I have a bunch of those, but I didn't have Nevermore. So I picked this up. And I think I may do some of the Black October or the Blacktober stitching, or the Dark 13. So I guess on the 13th I may start a Halloween piece and do that for darks 13 stitching. But that's not all. That was my 1, 2, 3 stitch order. But I also placed an order because I watched Ginger Gerald Stitcher, hi Gerald, and a couple of other people, and they were talking about Angela at Color and Cotton. So I went to her site and I checked her out. And I think the last time when I was, or during my Stitch Mania plans, I showed Lady Alexandra and I showed Archangel Michael, who I plan to start this month. Archangel Michael is in honor of my son Michael, and Lady Alexandra is in honor of my oldest daughter, Alexandria. But I could never find a Mirabilla, I can't say that, but you all know what I mean, that suited my daughter Rebecca. But when I got to Angela's site, I was looking at her patterns charts that were available, and she had the Frog Princess. And I called my daughter into my room, Rebecca, and when she was little, she loved ruffles and lace and all things frilly. But she was the biggest tomboy little girl. I mean, she would run out, lay on her stomach on the swings, and swing back and forth and be perfectly happy. And she would get filthy dirty to the point where she even had like a dirt ring around her mouth. She would come in the house. And so I told her, I said, if there was ever anything that made me think of Rebecca, it was the Frog Princess. And she loved this. Because I did find something else after this, which was Rapunzel, and that even has the R. And Rebecca told me that she liked the Frog Princess better. So I ordered the Frog Princess from Angela, and I'm very excited about that. I don't know when I'm going to start it. It's not part of my Mania plans, but since I'm planning on starting Archangel Michael and Lady Alexandra this month, I will probably start the Frog Princess in the not too distant future. So anyway, I also got some Color and Cotton hand-dyed floss, and that comes in 8-yard skeins. I also signed up for her for 5 flosses of the month because I really like the way these look. And these are the colors that I picked. And I don't know if you can see it. I think these are beautiful. Now I have 2 different browns. I'll show these to you. I'm sure you've seen them by now. This one is called Peacock, and it's variegated like teal blues and really beautiful greens. Green is my favorite color, and the name is right on the back of the card. So that's Peacock. And then this one is Parakeet. Isn't that gorgeous? I mean, bright, beautiful. I love that. And then I got, yellow's not my favorite, but I'm getting into it more and more. And this one is called Pollen. So that's really pretty. And then I got these 2 brown ones. This one's called Golden Chestnut, and you can see it's kind of got a yellow cast to the browns. And then this one is called Quarter Horse, and it's a little redder than the other one. So I'm looking forward to using these, and the Frog Princess has got brown hair, so I may try substituting something like this in there. I usually just use DMC flosses, and that's pretty much what this has. It has got some blended DMC in here, and it does show DMC floss and mill hill beads, the usual. So I'm looking forward to that, and those were my purchases for May. I don't know that that'll be the end, but it's probably enough for now. I do need to get another piece of the exotic orchid fabric to do this on, because I want to do all 3 of these on the same fabric, because I don't know if I'm going to give them as gifts now, or if I'm going to frame them and put them on my walls, and then you know, later they can each take their own. We'll see. Anyway, not a lot else going on. That was pretty much my stitching for this past week. I just got quite a bit done. I'm pretty proud of myself. I have a lot of gardening to catch up on though, because I'm behind on everything. It's been too wet to even mow, so I have a lush tropical garden growing out there just with grass and weeds. Fun times. Anyway, I hope that you are all in good health and are keeping busy with your stitching. I hope if your stitchy bug has gone on hiatus, I hope that it returns to you soon. I have found that by coming up with different things to work on and switching it up every now and then is really helping me. I was a little bit worried when I saw how many whips I have, because I actually wrote them all down. Well, not all of them, but the ones that I've been touching, I guess. So I put it together in like a chart like this, and these are my whips, and then I just highlighted where I've been working on them, and the dates are at the top, and that shows May. So camera stopped. Gotta love it. This is April, so this shows my stitching in April, and then the things I highlight in yellow were finishes. So like for May, I can highlight trees in yellow, and then I don't have to show that next month, so that's a good thing. Anyway, like I said, have very good stitching days. Be healthy, be happy. God bless.